There we go. And we're live. Welcome to our Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time
Mhm.
homebuyer seminar. We get together every Wednesday, the three of us. Hopefully, we're all here. We're all busy. I'm Bill Gross. Welcome. Say hi to my colleague
Yes, Patricia Castillo.
and our other colleague and good friend.
Gustavo Segura, how you guys doing?
We're doing great, and we're here to talk about all things home buying. And we started talking beforehand about how we're so busy. Escrows. 2 weeks ago I had 5 listings and a pending escrow. Today I have 6 pending escrows. Everything is sold in the last 2 weeks, 10 days. About crazy. Patricia's busy as well.
That's right.
Per,
Four
per
escrows
listing.
right now, and
Whew.
still helping out a few buyers. It's a bit.
Híjole. Híjole, as we say in Spanish. I don't know if you guys understand Spanish. I'll translate for you. It's like, what the heck?
Yes, everything is just got sold.
Yeah. So we're all busy, we're all doing good, and whatever we're doing is working. So I heard a great presentation today on educating buyers on what it means to be in a seller's market. And the number one thing I would say, I just realized this myself today, that
Mhm.
and appreciate the deal I had with Gustavo. It's not that you be pre-approved because you need to be pre-approved. That's part of it. You'll be pre-approved. Make sure you qualify. Make sure you're ready to go. Make sure you can close and meet your timetables. But part of
Right.
pre-approval is having a loan officer as part of the team to sell the listing agent on why they should pick your deal.
Hmm.
Right? I mean, if it's an all cash offer, it's easy. It's all cash. They send you a bank statement.
Right.
When there's multiple lenders, the question is, do you want a piece of paper that says some phone center in God knows where in Bank of America's catacombs is going to get your commission check and you sell her their money? Do you want to rely on that? Or when Gustavo calls with his smiling face and knowledge of the market calls you, which one are you going to, if you're a seller, put your equity? Whose hands are you going to put it in? Or if you're a listing agent, whose hands you put the commission in? Gustavo, that's you, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's a little bit of to add to that is the times, right? A lot of people like to handle things after their work hours. So it's at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, maybe it's on a
Yeah,
Saturday, maybe it's on a Sunday.
yeah.
So that flexibility also comes into play.
Yeah, yeah. Like, good luck calling Bank of America at 6 o'clock and getting somebody on the phone.
Right.
Now, I will say it's interesting because within these big companies, there is a small cadre of people who are really good. And I happened to get a loan recently, a loan officer that was Bank of America, but as is my practice, I called them and she called right back and she calls back all the time. And she literally called me right for this phone call to update me. That's 1 in 100. That's 1 in 100 of those people because she's in a special department that does loans and goes out and works with uh, real estate agents and earns their business, doesn't sit in the branch waiting for people to walk in and give them business, the non-discerning customers. But it's so
Yeah.
important to have a partner in this business. It's not just being pre-approved. I think buyers understand the importance of the team and the presentation of the package, and the fact that I was asking are you going to call my buyer insists on another loan officer, well, are you going to call the listing agent and go along on this deal? Because sometimes they just don't do it, or they're not effective at it, or they're scared. They don't want to do that. So that's
Yeah.
just a thought I had today. I was listening to one of the top loan officers in the business talk about how he counsels his buyers agents on it's important that the buyers know the market they're in and why it's competitive and why things have to be done that way. But also, I think the loan officer has to be on board, or else you're really just spinning your wheels in a market like this. I have, like I said, everything I have is an escrow. We have multiple offers on everything. Every night, my standard practice now is I do a spreadsheet with all the offers, just to keep them all straight in my head. So, so
Yeah.
Patricia,
I
what's up with you? What's up on your side? What's happening down the 562?
and the 562. I actually recorded a video on this yesterday on my social media because what we were talking about is just the importance of communication, especially in this market right now with the high demand and many buyers coming in looking at one property and a listing agent receiving multiple offers. how can you as a buyer stand out in today's competitive environment? And for example, I had received an offer from an agent, and I saw the offer appear in my email, but I never got a call from the agent, and I never received a call from the lender either to support all of the buyer qualifications and really explain how they're qualified, and what kind of down payment they have, and just really communicate regarding the offer. So I never heard from the agent, never heard from the loan agent. All I received was the offer and email. And I thought that was really strange. I mean, if you're representing a buyer, you definitely want to call the listing agent, introduce yourself, and make that good first impression. Let them know that you're going to be communicative throughout the whole process, and not just send this email without any type of phone call preceding the email. And like Gustavo and I have done in the past, we call the listing agent together and make sure that we put in a good word for our buyer and can really give them that assurance that our buyer is going to close the deal, and that they're not going to fall out of market. So it's really important. And that's why I recorded that video yesterday, because of the offer that I received without any phone call behind it. It's really important to communicate, reassure the listing agent so he or she can reassure the seller and let them know that they've got a good buyer under contract, and that they give them that influence that they have received the different offers. So you have a spreadsheet of offers, but the other agents that really reach out to you are going to have that impact on us as a listing agent, right? And let us know which ones are truly going to be communicative and work hard throughout the whole process of escrow. So it's not just getting your offer accepted, but it's continuing that, good first impression throughout the whole transaction.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like, do you want to be just a number on a spreadsheet, or do you want to be like that asterisk within that spreadsheet, right? It's like, ooh, they called me. Oh, they followed up with me. I'm gonna highlight those guys. And then that way, like you said, you really understand that you've got a partner there that's going to help you get this transaction to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I always wonder, what else does a lender have more important to do than to at least return the phone call of the listing agent on offer they're trying to get accepted? I mean, your job is to, if you're a business person, and this is a misnomer, I think, of all businesses, your job as a business person is to generate business, right? If you're an attorney, you're in the business of legal services. Your job is to generate more business for the business. Either you provide the legal services, or you delegate to other attorneys or associates or paralegals or third-party companies. But if you own a business, your number one focus, I think, every day has to be on generating business. And as a loan officer, as a former one and a former owner of a company and coach of loan officers over my career, I always wonder, what else do you have to do? Like, what are you doing all day long? I know when I see them on Facebook, LinkedIn, they play golf, they go to restaurants, they're on vacation. That's all great. But what else do you have to do if not call a listing agent to get your offer accepted, number one, and two, to develop perhaps a new relationship with that new listing agent to work with their buyers going forward, or their buyer agents going forward. I always tell agents, I don't work that often with lenders directly, but I have team members that do, and I introduce them and promote them. And I have Gustavo here. I've only worked with him once. We didn't close the deal. I owe him. I try to generate business for him on this call and other things that I do. Why would you not call me, and if you're offering on my listing to get accepted? Because let me ask you, Gustavo, what's your commission on a loan where the offer is not accepted?
Yeah, that's a big zero.
It's a big zero. In Espanol, it's cero. See, cero dólares, cero pesos, cero centavos. It's cero, any way you look at it, right? What's your commission if it's accepted? Well, whatever your commission is. But it's zero if the offer is accepted. What's more important? I don't know. And it's amazing. And I think for people listening, why you guys keep belaboring the pre-approval? Because most people still don't do it. It's shocking to me. I don't know. Patricia, you're a listing agent. What percentage of your offers come with a good, solid pre-approval, proof of funds, and the loan officer reaches out to you? What percentage of the time?
Yeah, I would say probably lately it's been a little better. I would say probably maybe up to 70%, that I get updated loan approval, current date. Sometimes I've seen loan approvals that are 2 months old and it'll say it expires in the next 30 days. But with the rates changing the way they are, even a month ago is too old. It needs to
But the
be
pre-approval
updated.
says, Great Western Bank on it. It's a little old, right?
Yeah. And like right now, we've had 2 very bad days in the market, and those pre-approvals from last week, those could be out. That person could have been at that threshold of 48% debt to income ratio, and this week it just pushed them over 50. They're no longer approved at that. So it can change very quickly.
Why wouldn't you? I always wonder what else do they have to do all day. I'd like to have a little camera at their desk and see what they do all day that they don't have time to call on the offer for somebody they're trying to get an offer accepted for. What in the world? And yet, and buyers don't know this. They don't ask this. They don't ask this other customers. That's why we do this call. You have to ask that question. Are you willing to call the listing agent to get our offer accepted? Are you part of that team or not? Right?
Right.
So, and when you just get, and I had one where it's funny, the B of A one, I think I mentioned to you, the agent attached the wrong pre-approval. It was from B of A, but it was the wrong customer, wrong property, wrong amount. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
No.
Right.
And I called the loan officer, and in this case, she's like, oh, no, you touched the wrong one. I'll send the right one. It's this, it's that. And she went through all the numbers, and it was like, wow, that was the realtor who made the mistake in that case. So again, same thing, but anyhow, I'll coach the realtor, but I can't coach the lender because I'm not going to see the finances and I'm not going to see the paperwork. I'm not going to lend them the money. So Gustavo, what do you see? What are the best practices of the realtors you work with who are getting offers acceptance market? What's the difference between them and those who are not getting accepted?
So definitely the communication that you guys are talking about, right? So before the offer is accepted, I'm talking to them. We're talking about, hey, strategizing, right? This is a competitive market. This is a hot property. What is their max, right, that they can go up to? What kind of terms, can we close in 15 days, 16 days? Are we looking at appraisal, inspection report? This is a 5-year-old house. There shouldn't be anything wrong with it. All those things, right? So having those conversations help so that we're both ready. I know what they're going to submit. I know what I'm going to then call the listing agent on, and I'm going to say, hey, we're ready to move forward. I know that the offer is 16 days. We've got that because of the following things. I already got all the documentation. I'm ready to move forward. I will order an appraisal today as soon as I get that contract. So that's kind of like that teamwork that allows the listing agent just to feel good and to understand that they're ready to move forward. That's what I'm seeing very successful. And even the agents that may not reach out to me, and then I see that email and I'm like, oh, they forgot to CC me. They forgot to talk to me about it. I look at the offer real quick to see what they promised. And then the next time around is when we sit down and we're like, hey, next time, let's talk about it beforehand, because their loan scenario may be a specific situation that we cannot do 15-day close, escrow. So that's what I'm seeing where it's successful, being able to strategize before making that final offer.
Well, one day I got an email with some great financial information on it, and lo and behold, whose handsome face is on it? Gustavo.
There you go.
This great information about finances and houses. Do you want to walk us through this? What is this that you said?
Yeah. So,
it.
As I mentioned, the last 2 days, the rates have been taking a hit, right? Because there's a report that comes out, inflation, it's good. And it's like, yeah, we expect rates to come down. And then today we get, a job report, and it's really bad for us because it looks like the economy is still really strong. So a lot of people are like jumping in and out of the sidelines, right? So in order to focus on the real benefit of home ownership, it's not whether you get into the house at 7% or 5%, right? It's looking at the future. So in this scenario here, we're looking at the Los Angeles County area, and we're looking at a home that's like $595, and we're looking at what it's going to do in the next 5 years, the appreciation, the equity that's going to be gained here, right? And I'm using a very simple historical appreciation of 5.56. It's over the last 40 years. So, COVID, it was 20% and all that stuff. Now this is being very conservative, 5.56. And you guys can see it goes up from that 600,000 all the way up to 779. That's a gain of about $173,000. So
In
if
5
you're
years.
in 5 years. So if you're qualified and if you can make this payment and if you're ready to move forward, this is where we really got to focus on. Throughout this time, you may refinance 2 or 3 times, right? So the rate won't matter. But what's going to be the end goal is that property and then that value that's going to come with it.
So
So,
you're going to make $173,000. You're going to pay zero taxes on that until you sell the property.
yeah,
If you do sell it, you can probably defer or not pay or have the taxes exempt given current tax laws. But let's not even
Yep.
go there. If you got a salary increase over 5 years of $30,000, you would end up with about half of it after taxes. Here, it's sitting there in equity in your pocket.
right.
While you're there, you're enjoying the house, which typically is nicer. People buying into something nicer. And then
Exactly.
here's the cumulative appreciation. You can see at the
Yeah.
end of the
And
5 year
you
period.
so you've got appreciation happening on one side, and on the other side, you're paying it down. So by the time you sell it or you refinance, you have more equity. And the yearly appreciation, which is that bottom number, that is just an average of what you're going to be gaining in appreciation year over year. So even if we miss this number by 25,000 or 50,000, instead of making 173 in 5 years, what if you make 125? Hey, that's still a number that we all take, right? And this is, like I said, very conservative, 5.56% appreciation. This is what I'm talking to my borrowers about. This is what I'm showing them so that they can see the numbers and not focus so much on a short-term rate issue right now where they do get a loan and it's 7%. But guess what? Maybe in 9 months they refinance and they're down at 6, right? So that was a short-term issue. The long-term benefit here is being able to have this equity that's going to be life-changing for a lot of people. After 5, 7, 8 years, they have $300,000-$400,000 in that. And I looked at properties on Zillow, and I went through them and I saw the ones that were for sale right now. And then I went back to the last times they were sold. And they were sold in 2018, 2017. They were sold for 600,000. Right now they're being sold for $1 million, And I'm like, yeah, that fits. 6 years, 7 years, it's
Sounds
being
about
sold
right.
for $300,000-$400,000 more,
And they
So
paid
it's not
no
out of the
taxes
norm.
on that increase over the 4 or 5 year period. And for most people, they can defer 250 or 500,000 as a couple
Yeah.
of that forever. You can roll all of it up into the next house. So there's a million ways to avoid paying taxes on that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that chart today.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I think it's really, it's very accurate because I'm using my home as an example. I bought my home 8 years ago, and the location also really matters. So, as you know, I live in Downey, and I bought my home for $400,000. It was a probate listing, and it had been on the market for a couple of months. I think maybe 2 months, and I went ahead and made the offer, got accepted. I offered 5,000 over, but then I also asked for a 5,000 credit to balance that out. And here I am 8 years later, and the value somewhere in the 700 range. So almost double in 8 years.
Yeah.
Amazing. The magic of real estate appreciation and
That's right.
leverage.
Yeah. I mean, you got to live somewhere, and it's better than just throwing 100% of it away in rent. So,
Fantastic.
Yeah, you won't get any appreciation in rent, that's for sure.
mhm. Yeah.
Well, you won't get appreciation if you don't do something.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want that information, if you want that chart,
Yeah.
or I'm sure you can get a customized version of it if you
I
need
do.
to.
Yeah.
Reach out to Gustavo directly. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Gustavo?
714-334-4563. Call or text.
Fantastic. And Patricia, if you want to get a hold of Gustavo or buy a house or sell a house, because now you're
Or sell a house.
a listing agent, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
My cell phone, I'm at 323-365-9909.
I'm Bill Gross. I'm on social media at Bill Gross Probate. We host this every Wednesday. We do vary it from 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, depending on our schedules. We're going to try to push this to 4 o'clock regularly because I have a 5:30 event I have to run off to regularly. But appreciate us being here. If you're watching it on the replay, feel free to put comments in there. We watch them, or we'll catch up with you afterwards, either me or Patricia or Gustavo. and then come on live stream if you want to sometime. And look forward to seeing you guys next week. Guys, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.